one thing pretty well always leads to another. But before you know what the another is, you got to get past the one thing or the previous thing. When I parked in here the other day, pulled right up to this car, and like, what is there? Less than half an inch gap in between there. Good stopping. But if I don't, then I can't get the garage door closed because it'll hit the tailpipes. I'm inspired by the dashboard of this car. I think it's looking real pretty. And then from there on, we're going to have to start building down toward the console. Because, you know, you're focusing on the dashboard and you're like getting that ready, getting it all done, looks really good. And then you realize there's like this huge gap between the dashboard and the Cadillac console when I stick it in there. So let's work on that today, covering down all that big HVAC system and everything, all the junk that's underneath the dash. And yeah, down to the console. Make it fit like so it looks like the console fits right in there. Because this console, you know, is out of the Cadillac, the 06 CTS. And it comes up to basically originally where the radio and, you know, all the controls and heater controls and all that stuff were. So I think we'll just put a basic flat, smooth pan over that whole area that fits up to the dash and down around the console, can kind of wrap around it. And then, I don't know, maybe we can put a cubby hole in it. I've still got a few switches and a cigarette lighter and stuff like that need to go somewhere. Maybe they can go in there. But then I was thinking too, you know, it'd be really cool if I put a Cadillac emblem on there, right above the console. You know, because that part of the car is Cadillac. Up on the top here, it says Chevrolet. Down a couple feet, it's going to say Cadillac. But that's the way the car is. 49 Chevrolet on the top. With kind of a little middle in between where there's all stuff that I welded together. And then to mate it up to the Cadillac on the bottom. So, yeah, that'd be cool. People would say, like, is this a Chev or is it a Cadillac? Well, both. Well, that was a bit of a break where my dream job interrupts my fun job. Sometimes I can't tell which is which. But anyway, a lot of days you don't get as much done as you expected. So I'm back again. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies watch these car building videos? Yeah, actually, they do. I don't know what now, but in the beginning, when I first launched this channel, probably just over a year ago, half the people that watched were women. I was a bit surprised at that. But then, you know, when you start a channel, it's your friends that are watching, and probably about half the people I know in the world are women. So only makes sense, right? But I don't know if they still watch. Hey, if you're a girl and you're still watching this or you're watching this episode, just leave a little comment down there so I know that what is it that you think is worth watching this video for. Not even my wife watches. Actually, I think she sneaks watching sometimes, but she doesn't tell me. So let's carry on getting this new piece of dash to cover up the heater system, come down to the console, and then that's another piece of metal work that will be finished on the inside. And, you know, a few more odds and ends. Boy, I tell you what, not much anymore. Looks like we about got that part. Well, for now, because it looks like a bit of a slab here. Just a big flat area. And we'll have to finish off some stuff. I might put a cigarette lighter in here because it's got to go somewhere for charging, you know, USB stuff. I'm thinking I might put it in the side, right down here. Just because it is sort of be out of the way. Just on this side. Because I don't know, we could do something with this area here, right? Like I said, maybe a nice Cadillac emblem right on there. Take one off the back or the front or something of the old Cadillac. Or maybe buy them. You can get them online for, I don't know, 25 bucks or whatever. Made in China. The little lady who makes them probably doesn't even know what they are. She just makes them, puts them in a box, sends them to Canada or USA. But I'm happy with the way this thing turned out so far. I like the kind of just the rounded edge here, straight edge across the top, because that's going to be painted. These will both be painted the cherry red color. Got a little box in here for the traction control switch and the hazards switch. But I think when this is all painted up, it'll be really nice. And I don't know, maybe we'll put some decoration on there. We'll see what we can think about. A couple of chrome strips or something and the Cadillac emblem. Or I was thinking of putting a little cubby hole in here. I could. I've got, I don't know, about 4 inches back there. A lot more work than what it's worth though, because the glove box is right here. And my hula girl goes right on top of here. Fits really nice along in there. Okay, it's got it braced here, up there. So it's totally solid. And then when we get to doing the actual upholstery inside, because we got to make all of the door panels, right? These corner panels that go in here, and carpets, and see where all that ends. I mean, this stuff here, the heater and all these pipes and heater outlets and stuff, was all covered in the Cadillac because the dash was like huge, right? And it came way down underneath there, and so you just stuck your feet in the dark down there. But this is all open, so I think, we'll paint it flat black so it doesn't stand out too much. I'll leave this side on here now. I don't know how much of it we're going to use, but we'll leave it there because we might want to put something, connect something to it. Sometimes it's nice to just restore something old, dirty, broken, whatever it may be, and you clean it, take it apart, weld it, fix it, paint it, and bring it back to its original shape. But the main thing there is that it maintains its shape and its position, right? So all you're doing is unbolting or whatever and bolting back together. Whereas you kind of can plan that out because you're going to fix this and you're going to restore that and you're going to restore that, But with this kind of a build, it doesn't work like that, because one thing does lead to another, and you don't know what a lot of times the next step's even going to look like or what's going to be required next, because everything from the ground up doesn't fit, right? So it's all got to be made to fit. So making the dash, I mean, like I say, I was inspired by that dash. I just really think that it turned out nice. I'm really happy with it. And then, you look at the next piece. Well, what about filling in between the dashboard, the bottom of the dashboard, and down to the console? And then a lot of the other stuff around too, like the sides, the corner panels, are going to have to be something made to fit in there. And so all of that is where the Cadillac and the Chevy are joining. And so there's nothing there that like you could just get a piece for. You have to make everything. And that's a much bigger challenge, I would say. Sometimes if my brain is lazy, I would rather just restore something. But when you're working on something like this that just requires a lot of creativity, it's a lot more risky. Like I say, putting this car together in the beginning, I mean, you cut the Cadillac apart, you cut the Chevy apart, you mash the two together, and then you figure out, like, is this even going to work? And you work for days and days on it. You get a long ways along on some of the things, fitting the back end, and then you work your way to the front. You get to the front and find out, man, oh man, the front grille actually is so close to the air conditioning cooler and the radiator at the front there that I had to trim the backside actually of the grill to make it fit in there. So everything is just really, really tight, which is fine in the end. But the problem is, what if it's too tight? What would you do? Move the radiator back? No. The whole point of using the Cadillac is that stuff is all there. It doesn't even have to be taken apart. But the real issue is the stuff that you have to build piece by piece by piece. And I don't know, I know hundreds and hundreds of pieces of steel into this thing already that I've cut and fitted into place and welded and ground the welds and so on, and still have to do the bodywork over top. But then what happens is your creativity builds some momentum, because now I've got so many wins into this thing, so many things that have turned out really miraculous, let's say. And then that kind of spurs you on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And so what can happen if you get tired of a project is you start to get lazy and you start to take shortcuts and you start to do poor quality work. But on a build like this, you just don't want to do that, because you've got so much quality put into it, invested in it already, that you want to make everything, the final touches, the finishing of it, really top notch and really outstanding. So we're at this point kind of saying, okay, no, we can't take a shortcut here, we can't take a shortcut there. Let's do this the right way. And in fact, again, if we do it and it doesn't really work out right, chuck it, let's do it again, let's keep doing it until we get something that's not only satisfactory, but it's up to the same quality and standard of the rest of the car, everything else that I put into that. So looking forward to this thing being finished and being beautiful. One of the big challenges when you're putting a 49 Chev on an 06 Cadillac or mixing anything like that is that the time period correctness, right, of the way everything looks is a huge challenge. It's one thing to have a 49 Chev that drives like a Cadillac, but you want it to look like a 49 Chev, right? And of course, there's parts that aren't like that. Dash now has been all redone. Got the Cadillac gauges and so on in it, but it's still going to have that 49 Chev feel. So that's what I'm being careful of right now, is that I don't do anything that ends up looking gaudy, homemade, or allows the 2006 Cadillac to show through too much. So the outside is going to be all 49 Chev. There'll be no giveaway there, except it's got Cadillac wheels on it, but nobody's going to notice that. And you can always change those out anyway. Man, they fit under there nice. It looks so good. And then you get into the inside. The floor is Cadillac. The seats are Cadillac. They're just, all the leather seats, everything bolts right back in because it's still the same floor. And then it starts morphing from there, and it's the part that I built. And then it comes into Chev again, like from the halfway up the dash up is Chevrolet, is the old Chev again. So, that it's that in-between part there that you've got to be really careful of, that it doesn't conflict, that you don't end up with the old arguing with the new, but somehow they just fade from one to the other with a real classy look. So thanks so much for watching this episode. It means a lot, really, because, I have to ask myself, like, why is it that I do these videos? Is it like the dopamine? Or actually what happened is a few years ago, having, working on cars and looking stuff up on YouTube and being so helped by videos that guys are producing and some of you are producing, and then thinking, I need to start putting back into this community. I need to start putting, some ideas and solutions and things back that will help people with their projects. Tell you what, I believe that hot rodding, or whatever it is that you're into, has come so far since social media, just because we can share ideas. I remember back in the day, man, when I painted my 29 Dodge the first time, I didn't know there was a base coat and a clear coat. Had no way of finding out. Bought the paint, the guy that sold me the paint didn't tell me anything about that. I just bought the base coat and painted it and drove it like that for years. And one day a guy comes along and says, hey, there's no clear coat on this. I said, what's clear coat, But now I could just look it up. I can look up 20 different ways on how to paint my car. We got back into Canada a couple months ago, and the first new episode I made was, coming back to Canada and then getting my shop sorted out and then building the deck on the back of the house. And they would get like 30 views maybe. And then I put the first one up about the dash, just doing that gauge cluster, and in 3 days it's got 550 views or something like that. So people really want to watch what they want to watch. So if you're enjoying this part of the car build, I want you to certainly subscribe and like the video, do that kind of stuff, hit the notifications and whatever. So it just really helps, okay? I appreciate you, especially all the girls that are watching. Thank you. See you in a few days.
If you're a boy like me, you need to subscribe. Make sure to subscribe to Car Cobbler. It's my grandpa's channel, Car Cobbler channel.